All right, blessings everyone. All right, this is going to be a very difficult video. I am going to continue to talk. I don't know when my limit will be up. I just did a 40-minute video and it broke off and it was just not right, and so I'm redoing it, and I've been working on this now for about a week. So I'm just going to have the video back to back. Okay, so I'm just going to take my time and get this out and try to do it properly. Now, I cannot stress enough when I say to you the 2008 Beijing Olympics was all about the scroll, and the scroll was giving the story all about their beginnings, about who they were. I remember Jonathan Kleck pointing, saying that he was from Frankfurt, Germany, and he showed a little picture of him, a little grad picture. And I decided to pick it up and look a little further, and that's when I found FC football, which is more meaning to that, and I can't get into that. But what I read was very interesting, because Germany was also opening up a new scroll since the Holocaust. Since the Holocaust. This is huge. Huge. Okay, so March 2008, here they in Frankfurt, Germany, in a town where they celebrate and open up a new scroll. Now China doing the same thing, opening up their scroll. Okay. Now what you see here is a sun disk, and it's also a calendar, just like the Aztecs. The Aztecs calendar is all about it's all about balancing the gods. And their calendar also is well known as the sun stone. The sun stone. So no difference in what I'm looking at here when I see the Chinese calendar with the sun disk. Now, it was Friday that I was doing this, putting it together, and then that's when I saw the asteroid fly by China and hit. Now, some say it hit, some say it didn't. I don't know the truth to that, but it happened. And this is why I was encouraged to keep going with where I'm going with this and not know the ending of where I'm going. I don't know the answers to this. But this was pretty much the encouragement I needed to keep going. So watch this. So this asteroid comes out of the sun disk, and then on Friday, you have the asteroid hit China. Okay, so I'm just showing you here. This is, the mountains. This is what they just drew, was the mountains, the waters, and then the sun. Okay, this is what's on the sheet. The mountains, waters, sun. Okay, so here I need to put this on record. Okay, so here you have the sun, the waters, the mountain, and you have this woman who's dancing over the waters. Underneath the mountains and underneath the sea, you have green, the green things. Okay, now when I was first looking into Esau and I started to do a little bit of seeking that out about him, I ended up in Africa, and that's where I started. And then that's when I met this shaman who explained that these green things, these green beings, they lived in the mountains and under the sea, were full of knowledge. Okay, it was all about knowledge. So here's what's being played out. This is what I believe, that what he had mentioned and how he explained it about these beings, we see it here being played out. Underneath the waters and underneath the mountains, you have these green things. And these green things had lanterns. They were holding lanterns. You'll have to go back and look at that. I just don't have the time to do that. So they're lanterns, right? Okay. So you can see here just a bit that you've got the green, and here's the lanterns that they're holding up. Okay. So then, not only once, but twice, we see the green. Again, we're not seeing too much light here. People are not playing around. And here we have, which I believe looks like the DNA markers. Okay? DNA, 3 colors. Okay, so here you see that she is flying over the green. Now the green is not, well, is exposed. There's no water, there's no mountain, so their foundation here is exposed. And we have red that flies over the green. Okay, so here she is right here. Okay, and she flies over with the foundation being exposed. Now they had the lantern, right? And this is what happens here. They light up. Okay? They light up. Okay, so here now we are going into space. It's all about space, right? Okay, we have Saturn, you know, all of it's going on. And then we have, again, the DNA markers. I cannot stress that enough. That's how I feel about this. And with the one hand being so very symbolic. Okay? So here, again, we have Saturn. It's very dominant here, right? Saturn, close to Earth. Again, okay, where God says, "Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven." Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm bringing you over to Jonathan Kleck's video. In the video, he talks about his art. He talks about his art. Okay. And I really need you to really hear what it is that he is saying, because he does say that what he is showing you was done before he was saved. And I believe him when he says this. Okay? I believe him when he says that he was not saved when he did this.
Top of the mountain, and it goes down like this. Right here, here's the wing going back. Well, this wing, if Todd steps further back, becomes a mountain. And this becomes the top of the mountain, and it goes down like this. And the other wing, here's the top, the bent wing. The line of the wing coming down turns into a mountain range coming down into a valley with a stream and stuff like this. So it turns into a mountain range coming down into a valley with a stream and stuff like this. So the point is this. Well, isn't it odd that my logo is a pyramid, but it's upside down? And if you continued these lines of the fangs, it would be a pyramid with a circle. So it would be a pyramid with an upside down circle like the sun rising over that pyramid. A bat. A bat is something that can see in the dark. I just thought, wow, it fits. It's an amazing logo. It really is for a sunglass company. So anyway, so now that can see in the dark. I just thought, wow, it fits. It's an amazing logo. It really is for a sunglass company. A bat. A bat is something that can see in the dark. I just thought, wow, it fits. It's an amazing logo. It really is for a sunglass company. So anyway, so now I'm starting to show you what's going on. Now I want to show you up here. Let's go up here, Tom. Okay, these little beings, these are heads of people. Okay, and this, you can see the blue in here. This is water going this way. And this represents the way water shimmers off. You know, light shimmers off water going down, going down. Well, there's all these different images of the crucifixion in here. And now that we have some colored lights on, even if Todd just walks this way, just walk this way, and you'll see how it changes. When you pan from one side to the other, the image will change to different images of the crucifixion. So these people are coming down a river, and this is the river of fire, emptying into the lake of fire. And as you look over here, well, there's actually angels sitting here watching those that are going over into the lake of fire. Now here is death represented as the devil. So here's a skull with horns and the eyes. And then look, there's a mirror reflection here. Kind of a mirror reflection down in the pit. So there's this right side up, upside down paradigm. This is very fascinating. Now here's the other side, under the other arm, the right side. Remember, the goats go to the left into the eternal flames, and the sheep go into the right to the kingdom prepared from the foundation of the world. Well, before I got saved, I mean, I didn't know anything about sheep, goats, any of that stuff. But I was Year the Tiger. Sheep, goats, any of that stuff. But I was Year the Tiger in the Chinese zodiac. So here's a tiger going this way, and the tiger is escaping the Chinese zodiac. So here's a tiger and that stuff. But I was Year the Tiger in the Chinese zodiac. So here's a tiger going this way, and the tiger is escaping. The tiger is escaping. This is judgment. And the tiger is escaping the judgment that's happening. The tiger is escaping. This is judgment. And the tiger is escaping the judgment that's happening. Now, Todd, if you come back, we can get the whole picture. Okay, now, let's see. Let me see. Okay, there we go. So now, we have the serpent that's coming down out of Saturn. It's funny because Saturn, I've come to find out, it represents Satan in the celestial, nomenclature. Saturn and Satan. It's also an octagon, I guess, or a hexagon on Saturn. But I want to show you this. So the angels are coming down and they're landing. And when they're coming from heaven, they're landing on earth. That's what this represents. And we're going to touch on this later because it's going to become probably very, very significant, is this. Really interesting, and we're going to touch on this later because it's going to become probably very, very significant, is this. Now, the lights that go in here are not operational yet, but I carved these are aliens. These are all like serpent aliens. And they're coming through portals. Not operational yet, but I carved these are...
Okay, I also want you to notice that there's a ball on top of here. Okay, but he doesn't talk about this. And this is what I believe to be an orb. Okay, this would be an orb. Now, there's also a picture of a girl upside down, which you've seen in a lot of other of his videos where, it's I Spy, I guess. I guess I can't find it, but... No, I'm not sure if you can see this, but there's a picture of a girl upside down here. It's a painting. And you don't see no lips or anything. You just see the black, right? And so I'm going to be pointing this out again because what he's talking about here are portals. And again, like I said, this is what I believe to be an orb. Now, we're going to leave here, and I'm going to bring you to Japan. Now, here's this tsunami that took place in 2011. He put the video up 2015. How old is his artwork? I'm really not sure. All he says is that it happened before he was saved. Okay, which again, like I said, I believe him when he says this. Now, again, we have Japan, we have mountains, now we have this rushing of water, and we're also going to be looking at some portals that he is talking about. And I believe I found something. I don't know if it would be called a portal. I don't know. That'd be up for you to decide. Orbs, I'm going to bring you and show you some orbs and some creatures here. Okay, so bear with me. Okay, you may have remembered this video with the white creature, right? Well, because I've come back here and I've taken another look at it, this was put up 2014. I remember seeing this when it was first put up, but I never really paid too much attention to it. I just focused in on the one creature. Well, I'm going to be showing you a few other things here, okay, that are new. Here, I believe that there's two creatures, and I'll explain why as we go along, okay? So here, you're going to, right at where my arrow is here, you're going to see the first creature go up here. Now, some would probably say it was the same one, but I'm going to show you something here, okay? So this creature comes from this way and goes up. So from here up, okay? Okay, right here. See? And that would be a 209. There's the first one. Okay, now 319. Okay. Here we go. As you can see, it doesn't break anything. It's not, he camouflages to nothing, to vapor, really. So here's the tail. You can see his leg. He crawls up on top of everything here, and then he just seems to, just turn into vapor or some kind of blurriness where we're seeing this here, like all over, okay? So you can still see him here a little bit. See? I mean, no different. Like, I mean, wow, I'm seeing a lot more here. It's very disturbing to me. Okay, so let's go back again. Now, what I want to show you is right here. And this is that black mass or a portal. I don't know. This will be for you. Now, when I say I believe that there's two creatures, this will be what this is what I'm talking about here. I'm going to have to back up a little bit. No. Okay, there's this little white ball right here that starts to form as this creature comes close, okay, and goes up the stairs. We need to watch what's going on here a little bit, okay? creature's going in. Something's happening over here. And again, we're on rooftops here. We're not, this is not water. Right? Okay. So now, okay, this is difficult for me. Okay, so again, the white is gone. Okay, and now we're going to see the creature that went up here. Watch, he's going to high ground, of course. This is, okay, there he goes. He goes up, and then again, he camouflages into that blurriness that we're seeing all around here. Okay. Okay. Now you're going to start seeing this black mass, this black hole. I don't know, but it's after the creature has gone up that you see this blackness here. And this black forms into different kind of forms, different shapes. So it's definitely alive. It's moving. Okay? It's right here. I'm going to try not to spend too much time on this one here. I'm going to ask, I'll leave everything if you want. I could leave it in the description box. Okay, I'm just going to play this out one time. So you're going to see the black now. The creature's already gone. And there's the black. And if you just watch, it'll change shapes, it moves, it breaks up. Okay. It morphs. This is it here. So this would be at right here. The black starts there at about 423. See, right there. I know I'm doing the best I can here, but there it is there. You can see it. But it breaks up and moves. Okay. Okay, and I think what's happening here also is that the orbs are actually causing the blurriness and helping whatever it is that they're doing. I believe it's coming from the orbs. Now, here is what I believe is the lamp, the light post here. This is for light. Okay, so here we have an orb, which I believe is a black orb, and it's over the waters here. So it's not over here on the sidewalk or anything else. There's no post. This is an orb. This is what I believe to be one of the orbs that I'd seen right here. Okay, and I think, like I said, this is what causes the blurriness and the morphing of what we're seeing here. So there's one there, I believe there's one here, and there's one over here. Okay, and I counted one in another area. I could have been counting it twice, I don't know, because it disappears later on. But again, this is what I believe is happening here, and it's the cause of these orbs that are able to manifest all these other things and to hide in the shadows. Okay. So really, when I thought I was done with this, I found something, and I just really, really shook my head here. Okay. Okay, so here I see the face, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the chin, okay, even the skin color here, right? And I believe this also to be an orb. And here's the creature. Now this would be at the 47-second mark, okay? And you got to go frame by frame in order to find it. I'm just going to open it up so hopefully that you might get a better feel of this. Okay, so the eyes, okay, the shoulders, the arm goes down here, here, the torso, okay. And again, it's all fuzzy, right? And I believe this is because of the orbs trying to hide the creatures. So this is at the 47-second mark. And then I want you to see this, because here, this man, this man, I don't know what's going on here, but you remember the creature that I showed you? Okay. Right where the creature was, this is what's there. Now, after this guy walks by, it looks like a stem of something, like a, I don't know what that would be, okay? But this guy walks by, right? Well, you see him again. Okay, never mind. This man, like I say, there's no face. What's going on here? Like he's blurred out. Again, a lot of things are going on here, and I believe it's because of the orbs and the interference here. Okay. There was something more about this guy. He just seemed to be morphing. There we go. Right? He's morphing. Look at that. What's going on there? Right? Well, we know. We do know. Yeah. Okay, so this is the verse that comes to me is Psalms 148. Let them praise the name of the Lord, for he commanded, and they were created. Praise the Lord from the earth, ye dragons and all deeps. Fire and hail, snow and vapor, stormy winds fulfilling his word. Okay, so now we are going to leave Japan. But again, you know, it's all in what Jonathan Kleck was talking about, escaping judgment in his words with the tiger. But here we have, you know, it looks like, to me, it doesn't look like a tiger. But with the orbs and this black mass, this blackness that they are coming out of, this is what we're seeing here in front of us. And yeah, but we'll be getting back to that. Again, here's the face, and again, this was another orb. I just wanted to say, because people will say, well, that's not an orb, it's too low, or it's, you know, and I just want to say that when this orb came to me in my house, it was hovering in between the door frames. It was red. It wasn't black, it was red, and it was just hovering there. You know, so. Okay. Okay, now, my brother had mentioned that when I showed this, this was a beehive, or a hive, okay? And this is what, again, you know, that people are talking about as hives. Now, if we look at the bottom here, we're going to see that these are all faces of children. And I said that this whole thing, the thread through all of this are the children. So I want to show you something here. Okay, so yeah, it does look like a hive for sure. Children. Okay, so do you remember George Floyd? This is what this reminds me of. Okay, where, the hive is there, the sunflower war, which is, again, the Aztec. It's a ritual. When you hand your children over to Baal, your time is set. Well, this is how I feel towards George Floyd. Okay, sorry about the one eye, but do you remember George? Yeah? Okay, well, this was his grade 2 teacher. He was, 8 years old when he did this. And you have to wonder what spirit was working through him when he drew this out. And I do not believe that this was the Spirit of God. I really believe that he was already taken at this point, okay, spiritually speaking. It says here, the part that I really got here was, I will tell the guard to take him out. I'll tell the guard to take him out. I will beat my hammer on the desk. Then everybody will be quiet. Again, sorry about the one eye. Now, the bell is a signet, okay? It's a signature. This is coming out of Germany. This bell is of 1776. Independence of the Illuminati. They were accepted in 1776. Jonathan Kleck holds the bell, the document, the seal, the signet. The bell sits in a ring. Here she's holding up the picture that George Floyd drew, okay, as where he wanted to be the judgment, right? And here is a green casket in front of him, a green casket, which I believe was his. And there's 3 sons here. There's 3 of them. What spirit was working through this 8-year-old boy? Drawing out his ending of judgment. A green casket. Sealed. Okay, now I want to take you. Okay, this looks like the virus, like the form of the virus here. Okay. But before I go in to this other half, I want to talk to you a little bit about. I want to talk to you about another connection that I made with Germany and China. Again, this is not going to be pretty. This is pretty ugly. Okay, but it needs to be put forward. Okay, this is a gentleman that survived the concentration camps. He actually survived 3 of them. I'm just going to read a little bit of this out. He was arrested in Jersey the day before D-Day in 1944 for helping his sister to harbor an escaped Russian prisoner of war and for non-cooperation with German-occupied forces in the Channel Islands. He went on to give evidence at the Belsen trials after the war, in which dozens of SS men and women were convicted for their roles in the crimes at the camp. He says, I survived 3 concentration camps by a lot of luck and the ability to live outside the carcass, living in spirit. I retain this trade. Wrote to, Mr. L. Dularensis, wrote in his note releasing today by the National Archives in which he sought compensation for his disability. This is the site of the infamous Belsen concentration camp liberation by the British. It says 1945. 10,000 unburied dead were found here. Another 13,000 have since died, all of them victims of the German New Order in Europe. He said there was no food, water, and sleep was impossible at Belsen, the worst of three camps where he was held. He wrote, all my time here was spent in heaving dead bodies into the mass graves kindly dug up for us by outside workers, for we no longer had the strength for that type of work, which fortunately must have been observed by the camp authorities. Jungle law reigned among the prisoners. At night you killed or were killed. By day, cannibalism was rampant. And this is not talked about.
I have to reiterate that this is not a race thing I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about Chinese people as a race. I'm talking about a nationality thing. I'm talking about mainland China. The attitudes and society that has allowed the current crisis to exist. I have some court documents here, which is going to prove my point. I got a lot of them. I'm going to take a brief look at this later. But let's just start by giving you a little bit of a background. If you've watched catch and release or sustainable fishing in the modern Chinese mentality, mainland China went through devastating starvation. They went through devastating famine. It was the results of the Great Leap Backwards and the cultural devolution the Communist Party put into place, and it led to the starvation of millions of people. I mean, just think about that for a minute. Millions of people died from starvation.
The CCP government suppressed information and statistics about the famine, so the total death toll has never been accurately calculated. The consensus is that around 30 million people died, though some historians have suggested as many as 45 million perished. Now we're talking about the CCP. This would be in 1945 when the war with Hitler ended. So what happened here? The Communist Party. What did they do?
You had situations where people were selling their children as food. Cannibalism was a thing. It's terrible. It died from starvation. You had situations where people were selling their children as food. Cannibalism was a thing. It's terrible. It's a horrible, horrible pockmark on the history of China. And it's something that the Communist Party would very soon forget. But unfortunately, people don't forget. It's now bred into society. It's bred into the psyche. And especially the people that still survived today, that lived through that time, they will never forget the bad times of starvation. And what this has resulted in is it's resulted in a situation where if there's something to take now, they will take it now, without any regard for the future and what might happen in the future. If the food is there, eat it now. In fact, the most common greeting in China when you meet someone is they ask you, 吃饭了没? Which means, have you eaten? It's that ingrained into the culture that a normal, like, how are you doing, is, have you eaten? I don't know if you've been keeping up with the news, but just recently, a massive flotilla of Chinese fishing vessels was surrounding the Galapagos Islands. 300 of them, they fished for...
Okay, and my personal opinion on that is I really do believe they're going hungry, and that's why they're doing this. Okay. Okay, I'm going to read this out. How is the gold become dim? How is the most fine gold changed? The stones of the sanctuary are poured out in the top of every street. The precious sons of Zion, comparable to fine gold, how are they esteemed as earthen pitchers, the work of the hands of the potter? Even the sea monsters draw out the breast. They give suck to their young ones. The daughter of my people is become cruel, like the ostriches in the wilderness. The tongue of the suckling children cleave to the roof of his mouth for thirst. The young children ask bread, and no man breaketh unto them. They that did feed delicately, are desolate in the streets. They that were brought up in scarlet embrace dunghills. For the punishment of the iniquity of the daughter of my people is greater than the punishment of the sin of Sodom, that was overthrown as in a moment, and no hands stayed on her. Her Nazarites were purer than snow, and they were whiter than milk. They were more ruddy in body than rubies. Their polishing was of sapphire. Their visage is blacker than a coal. They are not known in the streets. Their skin cleaveth to their bones. It is withered. It is become like sticks. And they say once the blood there's lack of oxygen, that the skin goes black as coal. Their skin cleaved to their bones. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. For these pine away, stricken through for a want of the fruits of the field. The hands of the pitiful woman had saundered their own children, have boiled their own children. They were their meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people. The Lord hath accomplished his fury. He hath poured out his fierce anger, and hath kindled a fire in Zion, and it hath devoured the foundations thereof. The kings of the earth and all the inhabitants of the world would not have believed that the adversary and the enemy should have entered into the gates of Jerusalem. For the sins of her prophets and the iniquities of her priests that have shed the blood of the just in the midst of her. They have wandered as blind men in the streets. They have polluted themselves with blood, so that men could not touch their garments. They cried unto them, Depart ye, it is unclean, depart, depart, touch not. When they fled away and wandered, they said among the heathen, they shall no more be soren here. The anger of the Lord had divided them. It was no more regarded. He will no more regard them. They respected not the person of the priests. They favored not the elders. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching we had watched for a nation that could not save us. They hunt our steps, that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near, our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. Our prosecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. They pursue us upon the mountains. They laid wait for us in the wilderness. The breath of our nostrils, the anointed of the Lord, was taken in their pits, of whom we said, Under his shadow we shall live among the heathen. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and shall make thyself naked. The punishment of the iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry these away into captivity. He will visit thy iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. Okay, so now I'm going to move towards talking about the virus, abortion, and a little surprise at the end, okay? So here we go.